Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Tuesday show. As today we are on the final release of the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars. Now, technically, 1988 really was the last release of the LJNs because in 1989, we already know the Canadian company Grand Toys had purchased LJN, so it really wasn't no longer LJN in Series 6. In 1989, the LJN was officially Grand Toys with the Series 6 Black Card release. Now, you did get 6 brand new characters, or 6 brand new figures in Series 6, but you also got a plethora of re-releases of characters that had been previously released on Black Card. Now, you can say, technically, Andre the Giant, who is one of the 6 characters in Series 6 as a new release, was a re-release as well. Now, he was a figure that was released in Series 1 and Series 2. And if you actually look at the Series 6 figure, he's basically a repaint of a Series 2 figure. The only difference between a Series 2 and a Series 6, the Series, I think Series 6 has teeth showing. And, of course, they painted on the black singlet. I think they actually did it wrong. I think they painted the singlet, the strap, over the wrong shoulder. I don't have a Hasbro over here, but Hasbro, they put it over the left shoulder, where on the actual LJN, they put it over the right shoulder. But outside of the teeth showing and the singlet, it's basically a Series 6, or excuse me, a Series 2 repaint, right? So a lot of times with the Series 2 figure, a lot of people, they just custom paint the figure, because you look at a Series 2, $75 figure, and then you look at a Series 6, $450 figure. So who's going to want to pay that type of money most of the time, right? So as I said, because LJN sold, their line to Grand Toys, they had an overabundance of inventory. And what did Grand Toys have to do with that overabundance of inventory? A lot of time that meant putting these little small boxes together of tag teams or random box sets. I don't actually have those box sets, and I want those badly. I don't have those to show you guys, unfortunately. And if you come across them, they're like crazy money. They're like probably a couple $1,000s. They're not valuable. It's like, I don't know. I think I've seen like Adrian Adonis in a box set with like Corporal Kirchner. I mean, Corporal Kirchner is like a $10 figure, and Adrian Adonis is like a $50 figure, $60 figure, right? So let's call him, for sake of argument, let's call him a $100 figure. And the box itself, it's a nice box, $10, right? But people are trying to sell that for like $1,000, $2,000 because it's rare. But nobody will ever buy that. $500? If somebody's going to try and sell it for $500, nobody's paying that. It's just a little small box set, right? But that is something that came out because Grand Toys were trying to make, put up these little mishmatches, right? They also came out with all of these re-releases on Black Card. Big John Studd on Black Card. Elizabeth on Black Card, Macho Man on Black Card, Jake Roberts on Black Card, $1 Million Man on Black Card, Honky Tonk Man on Black Card. One of the most, not every single character that you could think of in LJN was re-released, but a good chunk of those characters definitely were. And one of the most expensive, one of the most popular figures of those re-releases was Adrian Adonis. And I've been talking about this in Series 4. Adrian Adonis got his third consecutive release for the LJN / Grand Toys toy line, right? Initially released on Blue Card in Series 4 from the 1987 run. Later on in 1987, he was fired from the WWF. Went back to AWA, went to all these little indie runs. But the infamous car crash of 1988. Well, LJN Series 5, 1988, released their Series 5 figures with another Adrian Adonis as kind of like, not really a commemorative release, but they did re-release him, I guess, for the fans, and I guess like kind of like a special shout-out sort of deal. So he got his second release. But it also had a Hulk Hogan on the back of the card. So, same thing with Series 6 with the black cards. You get Adrian Adonis, but you're back to having Hulk Hogan on the back of the card with the bio card. And I think that's what confuses a lot of people with the Adrian Adonis on black card. Because what do you notice with Adrian Adonis? That right there, the Hulk Hogan commemorative piece. Now, mind you, there's only 2 figures, technically 3. So 3 figures, 2 characters. Hulk Hogan with his 2 variants, and Adrian Adonis. Only those 2 characters come with that special commemorative, marking on the black card. So people, they see that Hulk Hogan thing up at top, and they think when they see Adrian Adonis, it's a custom. It's not. That's just how Adrian Adonis was released. This is one of the most rare and one of the most expensive pieces to have as part of your collection. And my God, to get this was absolutely a holy grail. And of course, black card. You got the black card, but on the back, you always find the blue card backing. I did find it interesting, though, when they released Adrian Adonis, that even though it's a black card, they didn't change this part to show the 1989 run. It's kind of showing you like the Series 5 run. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, it is, man. I was kind of looking at this a little bit closer. And for a second there, it kind of looked like it was kind of printed, like computer printed, but I don't know. My eyes are messed up, so, but it's not. There's nothing, like, I look at this and there's nothing about this that tells me anything different. But there are a few figures. Obviously, Adrian Adonis was a Holy Grail piece pickup, right? When it comes to black card re-releases, Axe is a Holy Grail pickup on black card re-release. I want that badly. Honky Tonk Man on black card is a Holy Grail pickup for me. Macho Man on black card. And for whatever reason, I think even Elizabeth, I think if you got to have Macho Man on black card, you got to have Elizabeth. And given the fact that I have both her gold and purple skirt, I think having her black card release as well is necessary. Now, I've come across a purple skirt Elizabeth on black card. I don't know. I think that might be a custom. I don't know about that. That right there, if someone can confirm, I'm pretty sure Elizabeth might have come with only a gold skirt. Now that, again, I'm not 100% positive on. But even if it's a custom, that's, to me, just to have it on black card, if somebody resealed it, even that would still be fine. Another one, Jim Duggan. I don't know what it is, but like Jim Duggan and Honky Tonk Man, because I have them side by side on blue card, having the two together with black card, to me it just seems like a necessity. So this one right here was AFA graded 80, and I just think that's pretty awesome. And I like when they encase it, they kind of put this little extra plastic sheeting over it to ensure that it stays covered. So I think that's pretty amazing. So again, Jim Duggan re-released on black card. Awesome, right? So these re-releases, I didn't bring out the figure again because we've already looked at them. I'm not going to bring out those again. But black card of Jim Duggan. And I'm going to pause here because didn't pull out one thing here. Alright, are we recording? We are recording. Alright, so I technically have two of these. I have one AFA graded, but since the plastic sheeting that's over it the same way as the Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I decided to grab this one since this one's a little bit easier to see. And Hulk Hogan with white shirt. Like I said, guys, I had these on black card. I just did not have them on blue card. Now tell me why it's easier to find the Hogans on black card than they are on blue card. That's insane. And I think they're more affordable on black card than blue card. And you would think that the complete opposite would be true. You would think anything on black card is more expensive than any blue card, regardless of who the character is. But that's not the case. Some black cards are actually pretty, I don't want to say cheap. I don't think any black card is under $1,000-ish. I mean, some might be within reason, but White Shirt Hogan, and yeah, see, looking at his championship, but I can't tell what color scheme that is, because in the last video, the last series we looked at, I was talking about the championship belt in regards to the Strike Force, and you know how with the Hulk Hogan's they had a black belt, and then Strike Force Tag Team had a black belt, and we were looking at the 1 notch versus the 2 notch, and who had the 1 notch, who had the 2 notch. I'm pretty sure because they're thinner figures that the Strike Force had the 2 notches, and because Hogan's a bulkier figure that he would have the 1 notch. And like I said, Hulk Hogan and only Adrian Adonis have the commemorative piece label at the top. It says Collector's Edition, Hulk Hogan Edition Collection. And they're the only figures that have that. Now, this one I've had on eBay for sale ever since I got the AFA graded version, but I've gone up and down in my price on this forever. But ever since I've seen people trying to sell theirs for like $3,000, $4,000, I'm like, oh, there's no reason me trying to sell this for pennies when everyone else is trying to sell theirs for like a ludicrous amount, right? So, and because I love that figure and I love having black cards, it's really hard for me to let that one go. I've gotten offers. And I think I probably should have taken them, but like I said, man, it's just, when you have something that special, it's really hard to let them go. And I've always said, this one was in horrible, horrible, horrible shape. This one only cost me about $300, which is basically the cost of a mint loose figure. But I bought it because what are the chances you're ever going to come across a red shirt, black card Hogan? Now, when I say this is in terrible shape, there are so many things wrong with this. First off, the bubble came off the card, completely detached. There's no poster, no poster cover. That's completely gone. The card itself is wavy and just messed up completely. Now, I think I have a poster of Hogan for this series. I'm pretty sure I have one loose already. So I could always replace it if need be. I just need a poster cover to make this complete. Series 5 blue card. White and red shirt Hogan does come with the championship belt. Obviously, white shirt Hogan, black card comes with the championship belt. If you actually look at some of the pictures I post on my YouTube community page, Red Shirt Hogan does not come with a championship belt, so this is actually incorrect. So I just left the red belt, or left the belt on this figure. This whole thing is incorrect, so I mean it doesn't matter. But I still consider the red shirt black card complete for my purposes. So, am I ever going to try and upgrade this? God, no. It serves my purposes, and that's all I care about, right? And I just threw tape around all this because I know a lot of people, they like staple it up and whatnot, but that's not me. I don't want to put holes in the card. And the tape, it will hold, it bleeds in. And tape does come, it will come off eventually. And you could always peel the tape off the plastic. And like I said, once it comes off the cardboard, it doesn't generally take the card itself off. So, I think that's it for my re-releases. So among my re-releases, the two Hogans, Hacksaw, and Adrian Adonis. Could have sworn I had more than that, but that's fine. Alright, now, the new figures. So I'm going to start with the loose figures. So, start with the loose figures. Not necessarily the way I have them up there. So I'm going to start with this guy. Alright, big fella. Andre the Giant. Like I said, Andre, he's basically just a Series 2 repaint. Now, when I talk about my favorite LJN figures, and I talk about my top 10 best, I always list Andre the Giant at number 3 favorite LJN figure. And at some point, I am going to have to rearrange that list. Because I know, theoretically, it should not be the way that I have it laid out. Like, for example, when I did it 3 years ago, I had, let's say, Big John Studd, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Kamala, Greg Valentine as my top 5. Big Boss Man, Ultimate Warrior, Jim Neidhart, Warlord, SD Jones, filling out the top 10. It shouldn't be that way. Realistically, I think something like Big Boss Man should be number 1. Maybe SD Jones at number 2. Maybe Kamala at number 3. But maybe Kamala should be number 1. Maybe SD Jones should be number 1. You see, it's just so hard to really place these guys. I put Andre the Giant Series 1 as the best Andre figure because I like his playability and all that. But aesthetically, I mean, this has more to offer. So why is he not in front of in front of Series 1 Andre, right? Why is Series 2 Andre not in front of Series 1 Andre? That's the stuff I think about. My Andre the Giant is always this guy. I don't think about Andre the Giant, your New Japan Pro Wrestling Andre. The guy that's being lifted up by 2 or 3 guys and being suplexed. Or the guy that's floating over the ropes, like literally flying like Superman over the ropes. I'm watching these old videos, man, and I'm like, who is this guy? This is not Andre. This is freaking amazing. Because Andre the Giant, to me, and I can't harp on this enough, Andre the Giant, he is a guy that when he throws you to the ropes, he gets you in the ropes, and he booty busts you. Okay, that's Andre the Giant to me. Or he'll sit in the middle of the ring for like 20 minutes with a bear hug. That's him. Or he'll grab you by the back of the head and he'll headbutt you. That's all he does. Or he gives you like these weird punches and stuff, right? I like even as a kid, I freaking loved Andre the Giant. As an adult, I will watch Andre the Giant. I will think he's like freaking boring as hell. But I will watch other guys that I enjoyed as a kid, like Coco Beware, Bushwhackers, and I will think that, as an adult, I can't stand those guys. Andre the Giant, as an adult, completely boring. I still love the hell out of Andre the Giant. You cannot make me despise this guy. You cannot make me even feel even a little bit bad about Andre. The man is an absolute legend no matter what. I understand that, with gigantism, that, there's certain health risks that come with the disease. And yes, gigantism is a disease. There's a reason why with heart problems and whatnot that, giants don't live usually into their 50s. And if they do, they don't make it to 60 and above. With heart problems, and then, think about the physical, problems that have happened with his body. Back issues, all of that wear and tear on his body from wrestling. Think about, wrestling in France, going to Japan, Canada, Mexico, United States. This man is well known all over the world. One of the most beloved characters, legends all over. TV and movies, $1 Million Man, The Princess Bride, name a couple. So, he's had his theatrical and TV appearances here and there. So, just a fun guy. My wife, whenever I'm like, we're sitting on a couch or something, and I want her up my feet or something, she won't do it because, she's selfish as hell. But, like, if I'm sitting there and she wants to, like, put her feet in my lap or something, and I'm like, no. And I'll look at her like, get your big ass Andre the Giant feet out of my lap. And she will look at me with such an appalling... She'll be such appalled by the comment. I mean, who wouldn't, but... Yeah, you ever want to insult your wife or girlfriend or whoever, call their feet Andre the Giant feet or something to that effect. That'll get them to stop talking to you very quickly. But I love this figure, man. Series 1, 2, or 6, you cannot go wrong with any of them. And like I said, Andre Series 6, price-wise, it doesn't have to be mint. You grab yourself a literal mint figure, like it just came out of the package. Like if it looks like this, like actual mint figure, it doesn't have to be in the package. This, you're probably paying close to $1,000 for it. Now this is a literal mint figure, but I didn't buy this mint. This had significant paint loss. I sent this to my buddy Rob to touch up. Now you could say, well, why the heck did you do that? Now this has no value. I'm telling you, this right here, that stencil on the foot, that is literally all the value of this figure. You take a Series 2 figure of Andre the Giant, take that Series 2. It's a $75 figure in good condition, $75 to $90. If it's a beater, like really jacked up, as long as it's got good rubber, maybe you could get it around $30-$40. Let's say 30 if you're lucky. Make him look like this. Maybe someone pays $50 for it. Maybe. So $50. That's the value of this figure. Mint figure, $50. You throw in that stencil, you add on another zero. Insane. But yeah, I realistically, I know better. If I were to put this on eBay and, be like, hey, mint Andre the Giant figure, I would have 1,000 people on my page like, no, that's not mint. That's been painted. That's been touched up. Like, people would freak out. Like, dude, I'm a different person than other people. Like, I don't give a rat's ass if it's been touched up. I would rather, if you're gonna charge me $400 for a mint for an Andre the Giant figure, I would want it to look as beautiful as humanly possible for my display than to charge me $400 for a figure that has basically no black left on the figure because it's got significant paint loss. I that's why some collectors, I don't understand the mindset. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I'm with collectors. I'm with everyone else. I want original paint too. But $400 for a beautiful looking figure, $400 for something that's where the paint's completely gone, I'll take this every day. I mean, that's me. I understand people feel differently. Everyone has their own prerogative, but anyways, next one up. This one right here. This is not just a Holy Grail piece. This, to me, when I look around this room, this really is the number one most important piece in my entire collection. I actually think that this is probably the most expensive piece I ever bought. Not only that, so that alone does not make this the most important piece. It really is the most enjoyable, the thing that I care about the most. Let me rephrase that. My wife is the most important thing that I care about, okay? Collection-wise, property-wise. Okay, property-wise, my house. Collection-wise, this is the most important thing. I gotta be specific because somebody's gonna take it the wrong way. Next one up. Big freaking boss man. Ray trailer. This is... Really? This is AFA 50? That don't seem right at all. It says 50, but there's no way that's only a 50. Because this card is freaking perfect. Maybe there's something, you know what? I'm looking at it and there's like there's sort of a dent in the bubble right there, right by his finger. But that's insane that little dent that you're going to like take off that much for that right there. I said before, very early when I started collecting the MOCs, I didn't care what it took. If I had to give up every single mint on card LJN I had, if I could have the Big Boss Man as my MOC, as a mint on card, I would have given up everything, all my mint on card LJNs to get this figure. Now, today, would I still do that knowing that I have almost everything? Probably not, but, at the time, I think I would have. This was just such an important piece. And knowing that the price associated with this darn figure, I mean, dang. Ugh. This one was exciting. I think about the years that I put in working overseas, all those years in Afghanistan, and what was I saving? I mean, obviously, my house was obviously that was one thing, right? But for 20 years, it was all I was working and working and working, but I was never really buying anything for myself. Think about that. I was saving money to pay bills, pay towards a credit card, pay the house, pay household bills, pay the credit cards, pay medical bills, things like that. But like I was never going on to like Amazon buying stuff for myself, things of interest, right? I was never going out to eat and buying stuff for myself. If I went out to eat, it was like dinners with my wife or something. So when I finally got into collecting, I was finally for the first time in like 20 years was able to buy stuff for myself, and that's why this stuff means so much, and that's why this excites me, and this is why making these videos and being able to share these collections with you guys, brings so much joy. And of course, Big Boss Man, you're talking about someone that's one of my top 10 all-time favorite wrestlers. His enthusiasm and hyperness on the mic, man. Anytime he's being interviewed in the ring, I freaking love this guy. But in the late 90s, when he was like part of like Vince McMahon's corporation and whatnot, I don't know. I don't want to say I kind of lost respect for him when he was more of like, the SWAT Big Boss Man. But I don't know. I just didn't like him in black. But this right here, this is my Big Boss Man, right? And then when he went to WCW and was the boss, and then he couldn't be the boss because it was too much like the Boss Man or Big Boss Man. And then he just took on like, Ray Traylor and then, Big Bubba Rogers, stuff like that. But Big Boss Man, another absolutely phenomenal figure. Absolutely love this one. This is another one of those figures that I buy quite a few of them, and the figures are beaters, and I get them for good prices sometimes. Like the fingers might be cut off or something. My buddy Rob, he repairs them, and I probably sold one or two. I think one, and I don't think I made any money on it, especially considering what I paid for it and then what I paid Rob for the repairs. I actually probably took a loss on it, actually. So somebody got a mint figure and I lost, so whatever. But I think the last one I bought, I think we're trying to turn that one into like the SWAT Big Boss Man. And I didn't want to do that because I want to keep it original, but because it was so badly damaged. Like the paint was just so, it was like if the figure was like more than 40% ruined, I think something like that was okay. So when I look at this figure, I'm like, there's just no way I could keep a figure like this as my number 6 favorite LJN. I can't. And I look at that, I'm like, how can I keep this one behind Greg Valentine? Greg Valentine is a perfect wrestling action figure. But play pose alone is not nearly enough. Name recognition, Greg Valentine, I grew up watching him, sure. But he wasn't someone I gravitated towards. To me, he was not necessarily a jobber type, but a mid-card guy. Not a superstar. To me, Big Boss Man was. Also, you look at Valentine with black boots and trunks. There's no way Boss Man should be behind Greg Valentine. Perfect play pose. And when I look at my MOCs, Kamala was a must-have MOC. King Kong Bundy is a must-have MOC. One Man Gang, absolutely. Big Boss Man, of course. That big bulkiness I crave. I love those big bubbles, man. Grip. Perfect thickness of the grip. I think this might actually have one of the best grips of any of the figures. kind of like Yokozuna when you hold the Hasbro figure. The way that his rump kind of fits perfectly into your hand. Just holding this boss man, his rump fits beautifully into your hand. So you can easily play with this figure if you wanted to. His arms, the way they're spread apart, not exactly the perfect Hulk Hogan or Kamala play pose, but I mean, it's still spread apart beautifully. The only downside is that finger pose. It's not too closed fist, so I mean that hurts his play pose. That's it. But the fact that he comes with an added accessory, an additional bonus, and a beautiful eye-popping color scheme. So this is something that you should be utilized. All right, sorry, I had to pause. The wife came to get me. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm thinking about changing my setup, and I might have to do another top 10. I'm probably going to do another lineup of how my original top 10 was, and kind of show what I feel like my new top 10 might be. But like I said, they're just so hard to pinpoint exactly what your setup could be, because I think that could constantly be changing. But I've always been saying that Big John Studd was my number one, right? So it's going to be kind of hard to start changing that now and saying Big John Studd is all of a sudden going from like number one that I've been saying for years to suddenly dropping to like number 6 or 7 all of a sudden. Big Boss Man, so good, man. Yeah, Ray Traylor, he died in like the early 2000s, I think, like 2003 or something. Yeah, like what was he, like 43 years old? I mean that's what sucks, and this is what I talk about all the time. A lot of wrestlers, they're freaking athletes, and even the guys that are like really heavy set and whatnot, they're still professional athletes. You got to assume that they work out, and health wise they got to be up there. And if they're in the ring, that's physical activity. That's still exercise. So what are they doing to their bodies outside of wear and tear from that work? I don't think he was ever into drugs and alcohol. At least I don't think so. I mean, he might have been. I mean, I that seems to be like the going thing for a lot of wrestlers. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean that's one of those guys I'm deeply hurt to learn of his passing so early in life. Next one up, and this is one of my least favorite figures ever. Haku. Haku definitely has earned a spot on my list of top 10 worst LJN figures. And Haku could actually be a really good figure. So, from the waist down, I love the Islander pants look. Among the figures, that aesthetic look is fantastic. Like Rick Rude, his figure is really solid, right? So, like the pants of Rick Rude make that figure pretty solid, but the pose of Rick Rude makes it one of the worst action figures ever designed. Same thing with Haku. I can't stand the way that the hands are up like so. The one thing about Randy Savage, the way that his hands like this, it makes it an unplayable figure, right? I don't like that. Or One Man Gang and Ken Patera. You can't do anything with that pose. If you look at the WCW Gloobs and you look at Sting with his hands straight up like so, you can't do anything like that. all the hate that goes into the WCW Gloobs with the El Gigante figure, his arms like so, aesthetically, that is a fantastic figure. I really love the look of that figure. It's actually one of my favorites. Pose be damned, it's still a fantastic figure. But it's got that stupid pose that if you were a kid, you couldn't play with that. As a statue, it's fine. I mean, if his hands were in any closer, this would basically be a WCW El Gigante figure. You can't really do anything with this. It's one of the... And there's a reason I say it's one of the top 10 worst. So... Now, Haku, this one in particular... There are certain figures I talk about that I just generally do not want to pay up for. And ever since I got this one in, I'm like... I'm good with this. I haven't even tried, not once, to actively try to replace this one. Now, back in 2022, you guys know, all of my original Series 6 figures I bought from Random Treasures. So, I bought all of them because why? All of these darn figures are selling for like $500 on eBay. Why spend $500? Go to Random Treasures, spend $130, and get them. Spend $130 to get a mint figure from Random Treasures. Awesome. But I think a lot of the figures I was getting from Random Treasures at the time, a lot of the paint was chipping on those figures too, like Rick Rude. I don't know how, but a lot of his hair like kept chipping off the top and stuff. I'm like. And the way that I used to have them, like, sitting on my shelf, like, the little DVD shelf, like, the shelf was, like, this much higher than his head. So I know his head wasn't scraping up against the top or nothing. So I'm like, how's your hair chipping off? So that was, like, so weird to me. I don't think the Islander Haku, but I think, like, the King Haku, like, his pants kept chipping like crazy. I'm like, so a lot of those early figures were driving me nuts. But, anyways, off topic, but I was getting a lot of the Series 6 figures from Random Treasures. Same thing with the Bam Bam Bigelow. Same thing with the Series 2 Blue Trunks Andre the Giant. Those figures, the Andre was like always a $75, $90, $100 figure through eBay. I'm like, forget that. Bam Bam Bigelow, $60, $80, $100 figure on eBay. All black face. I'm like, forget that. No. I'll get a mint figure from Random Treasures. Of course, eventually, I did buy original figures through eBay, Mercari, whatever. No, I got them all from eBay. And when I got the originals, I no longer needed the Random Treasures customs. So, obviously, I was able to swap them out. But this Haku, yes, of course, these are all original. So, the original Haku I got, his face looked like Freddy Krueger. Well, how did that happen? How did he go from pizza face to this? And it wasn't even pizza face, man. It looked like somebody took a lighter and I kind of like... There was no face. Like a rabbit ate his face off or something. I don't know, man. I can't even describe it. And I probably won it on auction for like $90. And that is the only reason I bought that darn figure, is because it was so darn cheap. Send it to my buddy Rob. And this is why I always give him a shout out, because that man has done so much for me, man. My Galoob figures, my Hasbros, my LJNs. My God, that man has saved my life in so many ways when it comes to this darn collection. And he has never, not once, freaking ran up my bill for fixing my figures for me. Charged me whatever it was to purchase the head, and probably $10 or something to repair it. So, You know, we're not like he's charging me $100 to fix the head or anything. Okay, so the man's been an absolute lifesaver. That's why, again, why I give him so many shout outs and why I always recommend him to anyone who might be interested. And when you look at it, you can see, obviously, the difference in paint scheme, and you can see a little bit around the neck where there is a slight paint change between the neck and the body here, which is perfectly fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be the most perfect thing in the world, right? To me, it's a mint figure, or as close to it as possible. And between buying this figure and the upgrades or the repairs that Rob made, all in, what was it, like $135? I mean, let's round it off. Let's say $150. Where getting an original complete as is would have probably cost me somewhere around $450, $500 in this sort of condition. So I'm grateful for that. I remember, man, I love the day. What was that? What they called a Colossal Connection when they lost the titles. I think they lost to Demolition, if I recall correctly, and freaking Bobby Heenan. He's all up in Andre the Giant's face. Stupid. This is what I love about Bobby Heenan. He always does the stupid thing. He did this with freaking Mr. Perfect and the whole Randy Savage scenario when they were going up against, trying to find the perfect partner, going up against Ric Flair and Razor Ramon, right? He did this against Andre the Giant when they lost the titles. You're over harassing a damn 7-foot giant, 500 plus pounds, and what the heck's gonna happen? Freaking Andre's gonna whoop your little behind. And you think Haku's gonna jump in there and try and go up against Andre? Come on now. Of course Andre's gonna whoop him up as much as he could. Again, you watch the old videos and it's like Andre could barely freaking move, doing these little weak punches, man. Like, it looks so freaking lame, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like, for intents and purposes, it makes it feel like, they tore him a new one. I don't really have the most memories of Haku, of course. Not really. I mean, when that happened, I was like, 3 years old, 4 years old, so. And the figure itself, it's terrible, so not exactly something I'm all in on. Next one up. Ravishing Rick Rude. And one of the most expensive figures because it's black card. And such an odd design. But here's the thing. We all know that the WCW Galoob figures, which basically came out roughly, 5-6 years after the original LJN run. So think about this. So, if LJN came out in 1984 with the first 5 figures, so let's say first 5 figures came out in 84 and the last 4 came out in early 85. So let's say 85, just for the sake of this conversation. So 85, they completed Series 1. And 5 years later, it's 1990 and WCW Galoob. And a lot of WCW Galoob figures in Series 1 and 2 mimicked the LJN fighting poses. Like Sid Vicious mimics the LJN Big John Studd, for example. Butch Reed, to an extent, mimics Hulk Hogan, for example. Or you could say Ric Flair and Rick Steiner kind of mimic. Let's see. Or Barry Windham mimics Greg Valentine. You could say that Arn Anderson kind of mimics Ted Arcidi and Bam Bam Bigelow. Jimmy Garvin and and Dustin Rhodes and Scott Steiner or excuse me, Rick Steiner and Ric Flair, that their crouched fighting pose kind of mimics maybe Junkyard Dog, for example, or something like, some of those type of figures, right? They're all immobile figures with non-movable pieces, right? So a few years later, original San Francisco, WCW, made by the same company. The Galoob family, when their Galoob business disbanded, and a couple years later they formed the original San Francisco toy company. A lot of the poses were basically based off of LJN/Galoob. And so you look at a figure like Rick Rude, and a lot of people are going to classify LJN Grand Toys Rick Rude as the worst action figure ever made. However, how can we say that this is the worst action figure ever made when the original San Francisco Toymakers Macho Man figure is basically the exact same figure? It's like the exact same figure. The only difference is you have the white and black NWO variant, or you have like the red and yellow and black, mixed color variant, but it's basically the same thing. I would classify that Macho Man figure, which is this right here, to be a worse figure. It's 7 inches compared to the 8-inch. It's a harder rubber, harder plastic, whatever it's made out of. I'm going to call it hard rubber. This with the soft rubber, at least it's a movable figure, right? So I will say that's a much worse figure. Once upon a time, when I was doing my top 10 countdown, I listed Rick Rude as the worst LJN. Today, I don't say that. Today, I say Jimmy Snuka is my least favorite LJN. I don't even know if I classify Rick Rude as my number 2 least favorite anymore. Or if I would even say Rick Rude is my number 2 least favorite. He might be number 2, he might be number 3, I don't know. I'd have to actually look through the figures and decide how I would classify them, but he might fall into the number 2, number 3, number 4 slot. I'm not sure. He might be number 2, I don't know. I still think I don't like Jimmy Snuka that much. So Jimmy Snuka is my number 1. The reason I like this one better than Snuka is a very simple, plain figure. Horrible, horrible pose. Super thin. At least with this figure, he's got, from the waist down, he's got an awesome, beautiful color scheme to his bands. I like that a lot. That is so vintage 1980s Rick Rude, okay? It kind of gives you, not Freddy Krueger, but it kind of gives you like a lot of your bed sheets and mattress or your blankets and stuff. So whenever I look at this color scheme, that's exactly what I think about. And you know what? You can look at this and kind of feel like, you know what? You can actually do some things with this. Elbow drop or whatnot. You can utilize it as a wrestling figure. Like I said, man. I mean, I'm going too far with this. This is kind of a joke. But I could take a trading card and use a trading card as a wrestling figure if I wanted to. It's a joke, but if you're a kid, you can utilize anything as a playable toy if you wanted to. You could make use out of this if you wanted to. Regrets. Love Random Treasures. I love doing business with them. But when you pay about $130, $140 for a custom Rick Rude, and then later on eBay, you pay about $120 or so on auction for an original, that sucks. And here's the thing. Original, better condition, or It's an original figure, excellent condition, better rubber, and I paid less money on this than I did for the custom. That hurt. That hurt a lot when I won this one. The only thing wrong with it is very small black marks, very small black marks on the chest, but otherwise almost pristine condition. So, and like I said, the one I got from Red Treasures, it was the paint was coming across, but like I said, very early in the Ram Treasure collections, especially with the Series 6 era or the Bob Backlund era of figures, I was having a lot of paint loss with those early figures. The rubber that they've been using for the last year and a half has been incredible. So I really haven't had any issue with my figures since then. I don't know what the soft rubber that was being utilized, but I think it was a lot to do with that type of rubber. But other than that, I always recommend them, of course. They've definitely upgraded in the rubber since then. Rick Rude. This one is falling apart. Sorry. My bottom fell out on me. Get in there. This one is the Holy Grail of Holy Grails. And, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to tape this one up. I don't think this plastic is tight enough. The case is tight enough. It's the bottom part keeps coming out. It's not sticking. Yeah, the edges, they're loose. That's probably why you had tape on these. I'll have to put some extra tape on this to keep this shut. Next one up, we've got the Ultimate Warrior, and I can actually stick my finger inside. I'm going to hold this one closed. When I say Holy Grail pieces, my God. Mikey Mojo, my dude. That man has set me up with so many great pieces. Just today, I got both my Warrior and Andre the Giant figures from him. In previous videos, I know I've gotten both Heart Foundation figures from him. And, shoot, what else did I pick up from him? I know there was more than just that, but, you know, those are like 4 major, serious, major Holy Grail pickups. But, Mikey Mojo on eBay, man, you guys find him, shoot. He's got an awesome collection. I mean, just talk to him, you know, talk wrestling, talk collection with him. Amazing dude. Ultimate Warrior, my number 7 all-time favorite LJN figure. This is an absolute perfect figure, okay? This one I think is very reminiscent to like the itching. Very reminiscent to like the, who would I classify this as? Maybe Michael Hayes Galoob would be a very close representation. Very close. So I know like Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude both have like the extra pink skin, but I don't know, it just never really bothered me. Not really. So Ultimate Warrior, at one point, I think he was like the first wrestler to ever hold both the Intercontinental and Heavyweight titles at the same time. And when I was young and I watched that Hogan versus Warrior matchup, WrestleMania, And that had to be WrestleMania 6. See, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. Yeah. I think WrestleMania 6, if I'm not mistaken. See, Royal Rumble 92. Trying to think back. Because he had the... No, that don't match up. Not important. I'm thinking it was WrestleMania 6. And then he had to have lost it to Sergeant Slaughter. And then Hogan re-won the title from Slaughter later on. Am I remembering correctly? But he would have lost the title to Sergeant Slaughter at Royal Rumble. And that would have been Royal Rumble 92. Do I got the years right? Anyways, you take away the peachiness of his skin, which doesn't really bother me. I still say this is a perfect figure. Perfect play pose, great aesthetic look. Overall, love the design of the tassels and the little warrior masks on his boots, okay? This is a flawless figure. And I always said, Ric Flair and Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior, these are guys I guess you gotta have multiple figures of these guys because there are just so many different flawless looks. You know, Ric Flair in all black, or green, or blue, or purple. I get it. There's different looks. You gotta have these different figures. So when Big Rubber Guys comes out with Ric Flair, it bothers me. Not necessarily that they keep coming out with Ric Flair, but I guess it more bothers me because they keep coming out with them simultaneously. It would make me happier if they came out with the Ric Flair figure at different intervals. Or if they came out with Ric Flair, but with different figures, different molds. But when they keep coming out with the same exact figure, that sucks. Like when they came out with Ric Flair with the suit, and then later on with Ric Flair with the hands out, that was fine. Because it was two completely different figures. That was awesome. Now I do have several Ultimate Warrior figures and different designs, you know, and they all look flawless. And I like the one that's kind of like Child's Play, because it kind of gives you like I kind of refer to it as my South Park Ultimate Warrior, because it doesn't look like it's professionally done. Like the graphics on it look like it's very cartoony, like it was drawn by like the South Park creators or something, like Matt Stone and Trey Parker or something. Like it doesn't give you like high quality cartoon graphics or whatnot. But I still enjoy that figure a lot. Or the 92 Rumble Ultimate Warrior with the American color scheme. So Ultimate Warrior is just one of my favorite pieces. And I don't care how much hatred this man gets about not being a good in-ring performer or how much of an asshole he was in real life, etc. I love the Ultimate Warrior. He will always go down as one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. Like, I watch him even as an adult, and I don't know where the hate that he's not a good performer. Like, even as an adult, I enjoy his performance. I love his high energy. Oh man, he must have been high on cocaine, coming into the ring. Oh, the only thing he knows how to do is come into the ring and shake those ropes. Hey man, let that man shake those ropes, okay? even as an adult, going back and watching him versus Hogan, it was still one of the most enthusiastic matches, one of the most enjoyable matches I've ever enjoyed or ever had the opportunity to watch. And his figure is lights out. And his figure is still crazy expensive. And you find yourself a minty Ultimate Warrior, his figure is still expensive. It's still a $500 figure. Now, if you don't have to buy yourself a $500 figure, because you will still find Ultimate Warrior figures on eBay. Canadian sellers are constantly selling Ultimate Warrior. Not the most minty figure. And you can get it for around $250 to maybe $300. Canadian shipping. Maybe you pay another $30 in shipping. The only thing you gotta worry about there, sometimes I got screwed a couple times here, is that if they ship it like FedEx, stupid FedEx, not only are you paying shipping from like the Canadian shipping, let's say $30, that should be shipping price. But then FedEx wants to like reach out to you. Oh, well, you gotta pay import shipping. Like what? No, I've never paid import shipping before. And then import shipping prices, whatever. Yeah, FedEx did that to me once or twice before. And like, what was so special about this particular order that was different from other orders? And I bought from Canada 1,000 times, so like, why did I have to pay extra this time that I didn't have to pay before? But that's happened to me once or twice, and it's not going to happen all the time, but something to be leery of. But that's one of the reasons I say, you might want to buy from Canada here and there, because shipping from Canada or buying from Canada might save you some money compared to from U.S. U.S. sellers. But normally in the U.S., for an Ultimate Warrior in pretty good condition, you're probably looking at about $350. But like I said, a near mint to minty figure, anywhere between $350 to $500 is reasonable expectations. Look at him. Perfection, man. Can't beat it. Love this guy. Also, guys, this is the first time I've gone back to this laptop in forever. Ever since I bought my new laptop, I've been using that one. But after my last video kind of had that hiccup, and I had to kind of split those two videos, and I don't want to risk running into that issue again, so I went back to this old laptop. Here's the thing: when I'm upstairs, I'm watching my YouTube on my TV, and I'm watching videos I film on my cell phone. The videos look crystal clear. But like when I'm watching videos that I film on this Chromebook, for example, or if I'm watching the videos, the Tuesday shows that I film on my new laptop, the videos, they come out to look like they seem blurry a little bit. Snowy kind of, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's just my poor vision or if you guys are experiencing the same issues. So if you guys notice that the picture quality is different, please tell me. I don't know what I'll have to find something to upgrade to film better quality videos, because if that's not just me and the video quality of the laptops are really that poor, I'm gonna have to find a better quality computer. Last one. Here it is. Last figure that we're going to be reviewing for the LJN/Grand Toys collection is the Warlord. Now this one does have a little bit of issues on the back of this card. And I'm wondering if this one... Actually, I don't know where this one came from. But it has issues there, and it does have a little bit of issues up here with the kind of like a little black up here as well. Actually, it does have a little bit of creases throughout this card as well. Who did I buy this one from? I don't think I bought this from Mikey Mojo. I think Michael, I think he actually reached out to me about a Warlord that he had available that was in better condition, and asked me if I was interested in picking up his. But based on the prices of these figures, I'm like, nah, man, I can't buy another one. I can't do it. But I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this card because I want to look at this lineup right here for you guys. So, some of the re-releases you'll notice, I've talked about them already. You know, guys like Macho Man. You'll also notice Big John Studd that I've mentioned, right? I mentioned Elizabeth. I've mentioned Ted DiBiase. I showed you Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I mentioned Honky Tonk Man. I showed you both Hulk Hogan figures. Brutus Beefcake. I don't know how I didn't mention Brutus Beefcake. I've only seen one Brutus Beefcake on eBay. I might have actually seen one on Facebook too recently, within the last few months. But the one Brutus Beefcake black card that I saw on eBay, they had it listed for like $30,000. Is a Brutus Beefcake on black card worth 30 grand? For me, it's irrelevant. I will never spend that type of money. And it's not even a question of, would I? It's more a question of I lack the funds. Now, if I win the lottery tomorrow and I got $20 million sitting in my account, would I spend $30,000 on that type of action figure? I mean, would I be able to spend $20 million in my lifetime? I gotta ask myself that. Because if I could spend $20 million in this lifetime, then probably not. But if I could never spend $20 million, then maybe. Why not? Add another item to the collection so I can, complete my OCD and say, hey, that's one step closer. But $30,000 for a toy, generally, I would say no. But I want that figure, man. I want that figure. The only thing I can't do... another thing about that figure is Brutus Beefcake. On black card, it starts to say Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And I think that is important. And I think that is so freaking cool as well. And, yep, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Right there, man. That is so awesome. Jake Roberts, I think I mentioned him as well. I mentioned Demolition Axe as being one of my holy grails that I really want. Okay, and of course, we already mentioned all these other guys. So, as far as Warlord, they don't show you Warlord, they only show you Powers of Pain. Right? So, next week, it's going to be a Random Treasures specialty video. Well, why am I doing a Random Treasures specialty video for LJN and Grand Toys? Because they complete LJN. For those that are new and don't know anything about Random Treasures, they are a Etsy shop. They did have their own brick and mortar store in Rosedale, Maryland, until they closed up this past December. But they do customize their own LJN 8-inch rubber figures, and they did complete the Series 6 black card with their LJN figures. And that included adding Bad News Brown to the LJN line. That included Brother Love. That included the Bushwhackers. That included adding tag team partner Demolition Smash. And that included adding tag team partner of Powers of Pain, the Barbarian. So, Next week, we are going to look at all of those Random Treasures exclusives. And that will, actually, technically, that will officially close out Series 6 of the LJNs. Or unofficially close out Series 6. With this officially closing out. I don't know how you would word that properly. But, like I said, I'm going to make that its own specialty video. It won't take long. I mean, that video in of itself will probably only take about half an hour, 40 minutes. Maybe even less than that. Because all we're looking at are loose figures. We're not looking at any carded figures, of course. If Random Treasures ever gets into the carded figure game, oh my god, their business is going to go through the roof. Because at $130 for a loose figure, I mean, that's after their 10% discount is applied. They could probably double that with their carded figures, at least, I would say. There are a lot of, and there's people like me who are going to buy both carded and loose figures. So, I mean, that's like $500 just from one sale, basically. But, Warlord. Warlord is the last figure that Grand Toys produced. And it is another perfect figure. Now, the one thing I do like about, from the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, is that their Warlord did come with long pants. And the Powers of Pain. What did it say? Powers of Pain. I think the PO of Powers of Pain, I think it says words of pain on the pants. If you actually look at the picture of Powers of Pain, like the trouser or whatever, it's kind of like covered up. The PO is covered up. So when you look at the pants, it's actually accurate. So I think that was pretty awesome. And, Warlord, I think of the 89 Royal Rumble, I didn't like at all. Warlord comes in. He's in there for like half a second. Here comes Hulk Hogan clotheslining him over the ropes. That is reserved for guys like the Bushwhackers. Luke or Butch will come in. Like someone like Earthquake grabs him by the back of the head. Oh, here, let me escort you to the other side of the ring. Throws you over the ropes type of deal. Or, someone like that. I don't know. That's the type of thing I hate. But when, someone like Warlord. Warlord is a top, front-of-the-line superstar. For him to come in and be eliminated in half a second flat, I don't think someone like Luke should hold the record for quickest elimination. Literally, he wasn't even in there, not even half a second. Embarrassing. That, to me, is the most frustrating thing in the world. And, of course, you see, Mr. Fuji kind of jumping ship, abandoning Demolition, joining Powers of Pain. I'm like, man. Of course, it allows Demolition to become good guys and, have more of a, greater fan base because everybody wants to root for the good guys. But Warlord, some of the things I really love about the figure, I love the way that these figures shine. Anytime you come across these figures that have a sort of glow to them, it really pops. Face paint, like Ultimate Warrior. Love these figures with the awesome face paint. It really shoots out. The dual color of the hair, incredible. Like Hulk Hogan, his arms are down, perfect play pose. Now Warlord, his arms are up higher, so that hurts the play pose somewhat. But still, it is still a serviceable, awesome play pose. It is most definitely still in a spot where it can be utilized. That is why Warlord finds himself in my top 10 all-time favorite LJN figures. And even though he is nothing more than a black trunks and boots figure, hell, I had Greg Valentine number 5, right? And Greg Valentine is probably even a worse play pose than Warlord. And with the added aesthetics, Warlord technically should probably swap places with Valentine. But back in the day when I was doing my Rumbles and I was getting a feel for the figures, Greg Valentine got more use than any other figure. And I think that is the mega reason why Valentine rated so high on my list. Is because of how much use I got of the figure, how much I enjoyed using him. But today, I don't know. Maybe Valentine is still a top 10 figure. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not. Doesn't mean I feel any worse about him. It just means that there's other things about the other figures I enjoy more. Play pose is definitely a high ranking, but aesthetics is definitely up there as well. Warlord. So Warlord, Andre, Bossman, and Warrior. All four of these figures are basically $400+ figures. Haku and hell, even Haku is a $400 figure. I mean, I think Rick Rude is probably the only one that you might be able to get for around $200, $250, if the condition isn't that great. You could probably get him for around $150 or less if he's going on auction and the condition isn't the greatest in the world. Like I said, I got this for around $120, $125 on auction purchase price. Before taxes and shipping. That might have actually included shipping. I don't know, but that was sheer luck. But freaking Warlord, I mean, this figure's a killer. If you don't want to pay a fortune, Ram Treasures, they do amazing work. The only thing you're not getting is the stencil. And with these figures, you're not paying for the figures. You are paying for the stencil. They're $150 figures. The stencil adds an extra $300 to the figure. That's the best way to explain it. Alright, so guys, this ends the WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars line. Next week, as I said, we will look at the, I don't know, what was it? 8 figures? 6? Brown, Brother Love, Bushwhackers, that's 4. Smash, 5. Barbarian, 6. We'll look at 6 figures next week. So to look at 6 figures, I mean, maybe half an hour. That video should only be about half an hour. So 6 figures next week. And after that, I want to do prototypes and variants together. But I most likely will not have all the prototypes that I want. So I will probably have to split the prototypes into one video and the variants into one video. So that means the variants I will do in one video, and that'll be the following week. And the prototypes, I will either do the prototypes the following week, or I will hold off the prototypes until the very end. Meaning I will follow up the variants video with the 4-inch bendies. I'll probably do that in one video. There's basically 2 series, version A, version B. And I'll follow that up with all the thumb wrestlers that I have. I mean, those videos will probably be about 45 minutes to an hour long, each video. I'll follow that up. Let's do the ring and the... I'll do the ring, the 16-inch figures, and whatever wrestling video games I have together. That's a nice little mismatch. I'm trying to think. Because if I do that, I might as well throw in the the stretch figures as well. I'm thinking. Because yes, I'm gonna forget about the darn stretch wrestlers. I don't have all. I think there's 8 of them. I think I have half of the stretch wrestlers. So you know what? Let's throw the stretch wrestlers into that video as well. So stretch wrestlers, the 16-inch figures, the wrestling ring, and whatever LJN wrestling video games will be in one video. And then hopefully I should have whatever prototypes I'll be able to add, and that'll be the last video. And so damn, that'll be what, another 3 or 4 weeks worth of videos. Then we'll get into the Remcos. Alright, an hour and a half, hour 20 plus minutes. Yeah, that's right on cue. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry about talking your ear off here at the end, but I just want to make sure you guys know what's to be expected in the coming weeks. If there's anything else LJN related that I'm missing, because I'm pretty sure I have it. I have everything practically, so if there's anything LJN related that I'm missing, you know, please let me know. I probably have it. I'm probably just not thinking about it. But until then, guys, you know, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Take care, everybody.